Hey folks, your
Absolute Packer podcast initiating in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello again to the Absolute Packer podcast with Andy and Elliot. After an interesting game, shall we say? But before we hop into that, we have a voicemail.
All right, you want me to play that right away?
Let's do it.
Andy, Elliott, hey, Drew here from Appleton. I just want to get your thoughts on why Ty Montgomery's going to be splitting carries with Aaron Jones. I mean, we clearly have a starting running back here that's a three-down guy, and I don't disagree with using Ty Montgomery in special situations, but by no means should the carries be split if we're talking about a, literal 50-50 split. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? But let me know.
I say, who cares? Aaron Rodgers is done.
I don't want to laugh at that, but I mean, yeah, it doesn't that give you a lot of perspective? It's crazy.
Yeah, that's actually a buddy of mine, Drew Elborg, who left that message, and it was just before the start of the game, and he and I talked about that, and obviously things changed quickly in that game, but
I agree with what he said.
I completely agree too. I think we can break that down real quick, and then we can get into our sorrows and start weeping and gnashing our teeth. But I've kind of said, I think since this, maybe even in the second game, but Aaron Jones should be the starting running back, period, end of story. Montgomery, they did this thing where McCarthy split carries, I should say. So Montgomery got the start on the very first series. He was the starting running back. And then in the second series, they went to Aaron Jones. And then, the sky fell and a la Aaron Rodgers getting injured. But, while I applaud McCarthy for and McCarthy and the team, collectively, the offensive staff of trying to make Montgomery into a starting running back, I just don't think he is. I think he's kind of a player without a home, without a position. He's good, but he's a tweener, and the experiment needs to end. I get the feeling that there's a lot of hubris going on here with McCarthy saying, "I'm going to make this damn thing work, come hell or high water."
Yeah, for sure.
And high water has come and swept everything away. So Aaron Jones needs to be the guy. But again, all this is just it's inconsequential now because we're in mourning. We're in mourning.
Yeah.
So, obviously Aaron Rodgers got hurt. I mean, he broke his collarbone. It was, it was a hard hit. They're saying, was it legal? Was it illegal? It's football. He arrived a little bit late. It's football. People get hurt. Meaning Rodgers, he happened to land on it in a strange way. I mean, he maybe shouldn't have tried to plant his arm or do things like that, but that's all inconsequential. The game happened so fast, I'm sure, but this is the doomsday scenario where obviously the entire team, and when I say the entire team, I mean even the defense on some respect everything is built around Rodgers. He is the guy. And when he goes down, the season is essentially down. I like Hundley, and, I don't want to go too far, but it's, I don't know. I'm speechless in a way,
Yeah, so I think Hundley's going to do okay, but Aaron Rodgers is probably the best quarterback in the league, and regardless of him being the best and stats and whatever, he's the most suited to our offense the way that it is right now with a weak offensive line and all the issues, right? So there isn't anybody we couldn't get Tom Brady and put him in there and have him be as productive as Aaron Rodgers.
I agree with that.
Period. So there is nobody. There's no. And I'm sure you want to talk about the whole Kaepernick thing and the Romo thing. Those guys, they couldn't come in either. I actually feel, to me, and I trust the coach to an extent, but I think I would make the same call. I think Hundley's the guy. He's been in the practices. He knows the offense. That should be where we put our, until proven otherwise, he deserves a shot, I think.
I completely agree with you. Basically everything you said, which makes for really simple radio. We're not yelling at each other.
You idiot!
no, no, but I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, McCarthy said I watched one of his press conference today. Boy, he was surly as hell. But he did mention 2 or 3 times that he's got 3 years invested in Hundley, and he knows the offense, meaning Hundley, and all those things. So it makes total sense that they're going to roll with Hundley for for that reason. And the other reason is they don't operate like, and when I say they, I mean Ted Thompson, the whole regime. They don't operate like other teams where they'll go out and pick up guys off the street. They don't bring in guys like that. They're not bringing in Kaepernick. They're not bringing in Tony Romo. Ed Werder. Did you hear about this? Ed Werder called Brett Favre and asked him if he wanted to come back. And Favre said, and I quote, "Absolutely not." Oh, geez. I mean, I had to throw that in there.
Well, because otherwise somebody will ask.
Jesus, I know but it's the Hundley show, and so we got to roll with Hundley, and he had a rough go of it. But I'll tell you what, I do have to say this. I mean, truth be told, I don't have a ton of notes in front of me at this time because we're just going to focus on Rodgers, and
Well, you wouldn't be able to find them in the sea of tissues that you had to move out of the way after yesterday. I was
really?
Actually, I don't think I was in tears. I feel like I'm just still sort of in shock over the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree too. It's it didn't really register until today. You're just kind of like, oh, maybe I don't know. You're in some kind of weird phase of denial. But I mean, hell, I already lost my train of thought. But I guess I was talking about Hundley. Oh yeah, this is what I was going to get at. Sorry. I mean, the amount of injuries this team is sustaining, I don't even know where to start. And this team has been under McCarthy's tenure has been on the high side of injuries a lot. Look, the year they won the Super Bowl, they had the most players injured in the league, most players on IR. So they can win with injuries. But this past game, I think they lost 7 players, including Rodgers. They were down to their fourth and fifth and 6th cornerback. Every 3 plays, somebody was getting hurt. It was every 3 plays injury, every 3 plays. And they weren't just they were out of the game. It was the starting offensive line. Get this stat's nuts. The starting offensive line has been together for a total of 8 snaps this entire year. 8 snaps.
Exactly.
That is unreal.
Knowing that, I don't think anybody could come in and do a great job. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was struggling at times.
No, I completely agree with that. And to your point, that's what makes Rodgers great is he can cover up the warts on an offensive line, obviously like that. Hundley can scramble, but he's no Aaron Rodgers. And, if you're asking Hundley to come in cold, because he doesn't get the reps during the week, it's Rodgers.
Right.
If Hundley comes in cold in a hostile environment, division opponent against a good defense and a patchwork offensive line that was just olaying blocks. I mean, the offensive line looked like they were it kind of bears, going off on a slight tangent, but it's back to Rodgers again, the Rodgers effect. I mean, after he went down, the team collapsed. You could just see the whole team was just like offense, defense, special teams was like, oh shit. You could just see it unfold. And McCarthy actually talked about that at his press conference today. He basically said they failed at adversity. He flat out said it. He said, the whole team just collapsed, for lack of a better term. He didn't say exactly that, but the way he was insinuating it was they just fell apart after Rodgers went down, which is, I mean, I look at that, that's an indictment on coaching as much as it is, losing a great player. You want to talk about how much, character, and gumption and whatever is going to be revealed with the coaching and the players. You're about to see it. And you're also about to see just how valuable Aaron Rodgers is to not only the organization, but the league in general.
I hope not. I really hope that I guess like when they interviewed everybody after the game, you could just see it.
It's palpable, I'm sure.
The same shock that we had, they all had, like Jordy and Randall. These guys were devastated.
Yeah.
So if you're Hundley or you're anybody, how do you walk into that devastation and impact that?
Yeah, that's a good point too, where they got to walk this fine line of like, oh God, here's Hundley. We have no chance to You know,
Right.
I mean, I'm sure they're not trying to do that, but what it also goes to show is, I mean, look, again, the whole team is built around Rodgers. So when he goes down, the team just knows it and they wear it on their face. They're like, we don't have a chance. And when I say we don't have a chance, I mean, look, could this be a 500 team? Sure. Could they make the playoffs? Highly unlikely.
You know, I want to circle back to that, but I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so let's say that Hundley's just an average quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
We're still better than the Bears. We're probably better than the Vikings. We really just have
disagree.
to. Oh boy, really?
And the reason I disagree with that, I don't want to interject, but it comes back to the defense. The Vikings have a very good defense, and this is another thing that's very concerning when you talk about our defense and who they were playing. The Vikings. I mean, the Vikings had their backup quarterback in. They didn't have their number one running back, who's out with an ACL. He's out for the year, and they're down. They didn't have their number one wide receiver. If we did not, meaning the defense did not get those 2 turnovers, you're looking at a blowout. I mean, our defense struggled. Now, they had injuries, don't get me wrong, but part of it is every team has injuries. We got a lot, yes, but it was spread between offense and defense. And what I'm saying is, they can't stop a backup quarterback with a bunch of guys named Dave out there either. And that is a problem. This defense can't stop, a bunch of second teamers. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see this defense exposed. That's what I'm really afraid of. And
but we don't have to be the best.
I guess it depends on what our I hear what you're saying. It's what are the expectations now?
Yeah. So the last I heard, and I don't know if this has been updated, but the Vegas odds have the Packers at 25-1 and in like 10th in the rankings, right? So
after Rodgers went down.
Yeah, or maybe 11th, because I think somebody made the point that even without Rodgers, there are still 21 teams that are below.
Wow. I mean, the league is down. I'll say that the league is very mediocre this year. There's nobody who's just way out in front.
Yeah, well, and I saw somebody making a comment about And regardless of where you think these guys rank, they're high, right? So within the course of a week, we lost J.J. Watt, probably the best.
The amount of star power that's gone down to season-ending injuries is stunning.
Right. So probably the best guy at defense, and certainly he rose his stature through all his philanthropy and all that, right?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, and Odell, he was out. So, I mean, 3 superstar names within a week are out, and probably for the season. I think all 3, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, when does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of injuries without question. And there's just not what's kind of unfortunate about this. It was all out in front of us, I mean, the league collectively looked mediocre. It looked like it was there for the taking. I mean, who did we have to fear in the NFC? I mean, hell, the Falcons have lost twice now. They're kind of middling about, which is weird, But I mean, they waxed our ass, when we went down there to Atlanta. I mean, they lost at home to somebody. And again, this is all just. I'll go back to Hundley. I think Hundley will be okay. I hope he does well. I want him to do well. He's got 3 years. He should know the offense. He'll finally get to game plan as a starter. That hasn't happened. I think that will definitely help.
Yeah.
But this defense is such a fraud that Hundley can't go out there and score 30-plus points a week. That's how they're going to have to win games. Hundley might be able to score 20. Might. And you're not going to win games. So.
Yeah. So you say that, but we did have turnovers, and sometimes that's luck, but the Vikings didn't beat us by that much.
No, you're right.
And like this, that should be, I mean, hopefully that's a low point.
Let's hope. And I mean, they can't sustain any more injuries. I'm telling. Oh my goodness. I mean, at one point, their starting cornerbacks were basically 6th and 7th on the depth chart. They don't have any bodies left.
I don't even know how that works.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to
I'm speechless on some of this. I'm serious. I mean, Quentin Rollins, he tore his Achilles. He's out for the year. They put him on IR.
Oh, geez.
So that's already been announced.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, they can't by de facto. It's like, I've been harping on, and everybody's been on the Demarius Randall, getting on his ass for being kind of just a goober of a player, but they need him because they don't have any bodies, They had like Lindsey Pipkins and Josh Hawkins as like starting cornerbacks. I'm going, dear Lord, that's not much to work with, but it's depressing when you see a backup quarterback complete wide open passes, even when you have some of your second and third teamers or even before there. It's just, I don't know. This is going to be,
it's going to be rough, but I mean,
I'm excited though, because I really do want to see what Hundley is. I'm kind of in that doldrums type thing, but then part of me is going, you know what? Let's see what Hundley is. And maybe, just maybe, part of me is almost like I want them to, go 4-12 so they can get a good pick. But the other, I mean, this doesn't work like the NBA. Teams don't tank, So,
right.
You want them to do well, but I just want this defense. It's just a broken record, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the offense will be okay, barring any more catastrophic injuries. This defense, I have no hope. I really don't. And the backbreaker on that is injuries. Even before that, I mean, they had a lot of healthy guys in Atlanta, and they got their ass handed to them, And it's a bad luck.
But other teams have that too.
Yeah, it's a week. I was talking to my mom, about this. I said, it's a week-to-week league, and not just it's crazy how much parity there is and all that kind of stuff. And so, but it truly is.
So I mean, to me, like this, maybe you don't care about these things till they happen to you. I totally get that. But is there something fundamentally flawed about the NFL because this is such a problem?
Injuries or just
injuries, like that can't be the determining factor of greatness. Like, well, we just got through the season with the fewest injuries, so we're the best.
I hear you.
I don't think that's right.
Well, I mean, it's almost like it's these unintended consequences, and it's like the give and take, because football really is the ultimate team sport.
Yeah.
In order for things to happen, the whole damn team, you can have the greatest quarterback ever, a la Aaron Rodgers, but his defense has to hold up, and you need a receiver to run the right route and all these things, and guys have to block on the same play. It's not like baseball or basketball or sports like that. So it's unique in that respect. But the other thing is, one thing we're just seeing is every year, bigger, stronger, faster, bigger, stronger, faster, younger, and what I'm getting at is the body can only take so much.
Well, the
punishment.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe maybe I'm just freaked out about this because it's Aaron Rodgers. But like, I don't know. Like, is it going to just turn into flag football?
I don't know. Somebody was saying like they need to come up with even more protective type of calls for quarterbacks, and I'm like, that is such bullshit. It is football. Look, that hit that Rodgers took, it was a big hit. It was a little bit late. It probably should have been flagged. Was it malicious? I don't believe so. It was a football hit. But what happened was he got caught in a bad position.
Yeah,
and he got slammed down on it. Now I will say this though. Every one of Aaron Rodgers' significant injuries that he suffered in his career have occurred rolling out of the pocket. The last time he broke his collarbone, he ended up falling on his non-throwing shoulder in 2013. Same damn play. He was rolling out to the right. He actually threw a touchdown on the play to Randall Cobb, and then McClellan smashed him down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this isn't happening in the pocket. This is him scrambling out of the pocket. And what I'm kind of getting at there is, at that point, he's a runner, and guys are going to want to smash him. You know what I mean? So it's football. Right. And I've often said that. I think, Rodgers can't do this up until he's 40. I mean, a huge part of his game is scrambling around. I get that. But he's not going to have a chance the older he gets unless he becomes a pocket passer. And people go, well, it's not the strength of his game. And I go, you know what? Who's the most accurate quarterback in the history of the league? Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady might be number 2, but Aaron Rodgers number 1. I think if you could find a way to have him become more, not completely, but more of a pocket passer, he could shred you. He shreds you on the run, rolling out and doing all these crazy things. But he's so accurate. He has to find a way to become in time more of a pocket passer.
Well, right, but he needs another second to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, had they had all 5 guys on that offensive line decently healthy,
This wouldn't have happened.
I mean, again, the offense is kind of built for him. I think there's there's actual calls for him to scramble and create, plays like that. I get that, which other teams don't do. But yeah, you're right. It's a fire drill. If you get the offensive linemen that are starting out there, it'll definitely help them. It's all these things, but a break. What I'm kind of getting at there too is, he fell down, he broke a bone. I mean, this wasn't something where he tore his ACL, no contact. So, if anything, he's going to be fine. The bone will heal fine. He's going to require. I mean, he's going on injured reserve. He has to have surgery. The recovery time is like 12 weeks, and it's even longer than 2013 because he happened to his throwing shoulder. That whole area is going to atrophy. He has to build back the strength once it heals. So, the good news is it's a bone, and bones come back and they heal fine, even when you're, in your mid to late 30s. Ligaments and things like that are a problem, soft tissue injuries. So that's one of the quote unquote saving graces. But I look at all his injuries occur scrambling out of the pocket, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah. So should we sign Kaepernick?
No.
So I don't know if you saw my ingest post, but all these people who they're just I don't know, for lack of a better term, they're liberal activists, and they've kind of taken up the mantle of Kaepernick's protests and all that, which that's great, that's fine, right? But they don't know anything about football.
Yeah, no, I know where you're going. Kaepernick, what's funny is literally right around the time Rodgers got smashed and his season was ended, it came out official that he filed a collusion lawsuit against the NFL. Did you see that?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. That's where I was.
So that's not going to help his cause get signed.
No. I feel like anybody who would even whisper that isn't paying attention. Why would any team that's being sued? I mean, I don't know how that works.
We're going down a rabbit hole, but check this out. I read this. No, seriously, this is very interesting. I didn't know this. Just in a vacuum, right? So he files this lawsuit, and say it's found that the owners did collude. Do you know what that finding automatically does? It automatically decertifies the entire CBA immediately.
Really?
Yes.
So then
that's
what?
Nuts. So they'd have to renegotiate a CBA immediately, or no football, no nothing. And you talk about no trust. If they were colluding to do that, and it was found that, oh boy. Well, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but when I read that, I was like, damn.
Okay. So all right. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer, but what does that exactly mean? That the league was colluding? Does that mean two teams were both communicated and said, no, we're not going to sign him?
What it comes down to is, look, I don't want to deal with this headache. You don't want to deal with this headache. Nobody wants to deal with this, because if anybody signs him, it's going to be bad for the league. Therefore, keep him out. That's what it would come down to. If there was collusion, it's going to hurt the brand. Don't do it. And when I mean the brand, it's going to be someone's team as well as the league.
I mean, I feel like he has an uphill battle to try to prove this.
I agree. No, I agree.
And then why is that not okay? Let's say they did.
To collude and say we don't want him?
Yeah, why don't they get to do that?
Yeah.
He was actively doing something that was hurting the league, and I think that whether you agree with that or not, they can make a case that was that was true.
It's private business, so I'm trying to think.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know all the inner workings either. Right, I'm not a lawyer. I know it's a different world for these guys, but there must be all this crazy language, in the CBA and all this stuff. Because the only other thing what is the end game? If he knows he can't do it, is it just more publicity? I couldn't tell you. I don't want to think about it a whole lot, to be honest.
Well, I don't either.
No, but they're fair questions. What is the end game?
So other than crying this week, that was the news. That was the news of the week, right? So, I I don't know what he's trying to accomplish, and then like for everybody to say, all right, you know, he was from Milwaukee, he wore a Brett Favre t-shirt once, let's get him on the team. No,
he's not going to endear himself to anybody. You know, it would be interesting though. It's like, say, can you imagine Roger Goodell sitting somewhere and he's like, we have a smoking gun somewhere and it's going to come out. He's like, I need to find one of these teams to just bring him in and sign him. He gets the Packers on the phone. He's like, look, just sign. Right. I know you don't want to sign him, for Christ's sake. Just sign this bastard.
So would that not be collusion?
No kidding. What a mess, huh? We picked a hell of a season to do a podcast. It's just, there's so many things to talk about.
Well, I mean, it ends up happening.
Yeah. It's just weird shit, you know. It's interesting, but at the same time, it's just like, ugh, I don't know. But so yeah, back to Rodgers. Let's see. Now, another interesting tidbit. So he's under contract through next year. I had actually Facebooked out something saying that this was last year's contract, and silly me, that's not true. They would never let a player of his caliber go into the last year of his contract without an extension. So he's got one more year. Now, I firmly believe, I don't know what you think, but I still firmly believe that he will get his extension done while he's injured, and he will become the highest paid player in the league, basically as if he wasn't injured.
So that is interesting.
And I also think
you're right, but
that's going to happen.
But how crazy is that?
It's crazy, but here's the other thing. This is like the weird conspiracy side of me. And I made this comment on Facebook. He's so valuable that the fact that this is happening, you're going to watch, again, league viewership will go down because of this, because of Rodgers. He helps the league, but also the franchise. I mean, his leverage power here by sitting on the sideline in a sling is going to be insane. You know, and I'm not saying that he's going to go to Ted and be like, see, now you need to pay me 45. That's not going to happen. He's going to probably end up getting 30 to 35 million a year, but he's going to get all this while he's injured. So that's an interesting, I firmly believe that, but you're about to see, like I said, I mean, he's the most valuable player in the league every year because of how important he is to his team. You take Brady off the Patriots, they're still decent. You take Rodgers off the Packers, they're going to be bad. Now, more of it's because of the defense. They got some skilled players on. But, Elliot, you seen this defense, man?
I know. Okay, so I don't know what to think anymore because I listened to you, I listened to my friend Jay, and you guys hate on Dom Capers. And I'm like, yeah, I think I agree with you. But then I hear Aikman and Romo, and they're like, Dom Capers is amazing because look what he's able to do, even with all the injuries. So what am I supposed to think?
Well, I'll tell you, I think we might have touched on this a little bit. I mean, I think, like anything, the truth tends to lie somewhere in between, for the most part, with most things in life, I guess. But so there is some talent gaps too. So what I'm getting at, that there is a Ted issue too. But where you can't, I mean, there's been a lot of first round picks on defense, right? Yeah. At some point, you got to coach them up. At some point, you got to hit on something. So I fail to actually believe that every one of Ted's last 5 defensive drafts have been just terrible. There's been some injuries here and there without question. But outside of that, Dom has developed nobody. Give me a guy he's developed into a great defensive player. The last guy.
You're right. I mean that there's truth to that, but
so I mean Ted's a part of it. You know, there's some guys that but Dom, he's one of the oldest coordinators in the league. He developed schemes in the early 1990s. It's a young man's game. Yeah. I mean, and they say, oh, it's so complex. Well, that's at odds with their philosophy because they go young all the time. You're going to throw this shit at young guys? I mean,
yeah. I mean, so those are good points. I just, I don't know. I mean, I think you're smart, but then I think, but then I think Romo's smart. So
no, I mean, I know what you, I know what you mean. I would say if I had to gun to my head, I'm saying 2/3 of this is on Capers and 1/3 is on Thompson.
Yeah,
and then the decimal dust is on McCarthy for not getting rid of Capers.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it is. But so people talk about getting rid of Capers, but then who do you replace him with? Anybody? I mean,
there's other up and comers on other teams. What I'm getting at is they'd have to go outside the organization. They never do it, and they're going to have to do it. And somebody young, hungry, up and coming, go outside the organization.
Well, hopefully we never have to have this conversation again, because hopefully the defense steps it up next week.
I want them to so bad. I would like nothing more for them to come together. Now, again, I keep falling back. Injuries. They got a lot of injuries. But part of me also goes, every team does. Look at the whole damn league, Right. So we may have more at this one stretch. We may have more on offense versus defense and all these things. But it's a broken record. On defense. They have been the Achilles heel of this team since the Super Bowl, since winning the Super Bowl. And you go back and you go, well, Dom Capers was the defensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl. That is true. He had Hall of Fame players on defense. Nick Collins was a Hall of Fame safety. Charles Woodson is a Hall of Fame player. Clay Matthews was probably the defensive player of the year that year. He got robbed. So he had not good players. He had all-time greats or greats, which means if he doesn't have great players, he doesn't coach anybody up. Again, give me a player he's developed into a great player, not a good player, great player.
Okay, so I don't know how accurate this is. I'm on I don't know. I Google for NFL odds, right? And okay, so for the game this week, the site I'm looking at, I don't know how accurate this is, but it's saying that the Saints are 6-point favorites.
Wow, in Lambeau.
Yeah, okay. So to put that in perspective, that's the same spread as Seattle over the Giants. And Tennessee over Cleveland. Like, just...
What's Tennessee's record? I don't know. But I mean, Cleveland's 0-6 or whatever the hell, so...
Yeah. I don't know. So,
and that tells you how big what Rodgers means. People know this defense in Vegas. They know this defense is shit, but they know Rodgers is freaking superhuman.
Yeah. So
that's depressing. 6 points at Lambeau.
So I don't know. I don't know what you think, but I don't think it's that bad. I think that I mean I've seen the Saints play a few games. I don't know. I mean,
did you see what they did at Detroit? Holy cow!
They destroyed Detroit. I didn't see
that coming, but week league, right?
So I didn't see the whole game, and so I don't know if that was. I don't know whose fault that was. But
I think there might have been 3 defensive touchdowns by the Saints against Stafford. But anyway,
yeah, and I mean that could happen. I guess. I mean that could happen to us. I guess. So I don't know. I don't know anything anymore.
Sounds
anyway.
like me.
So I put a last minute call out for callers tonight, and unfortunately our friends all ignored us. Yeah, I mean, but next time if anybody wants to call in, 508-535-5468. I think we'll have a lot to talk about after the Saints game.
Now we always have to end on JS comments, though.
Yeah, that's your deal. What's your?
There's some good ones because Rodgers went down, so they're back. All right. All right, first one. Why is Mark Murphy not calling for an investigation? Rodgers will ask for a trade or sign elsewhere because nobody protects him. Calling for an investigation.
Okay, but you know what? It's even better than that because this tweet was riddled with typos.
Like, yes, there's tons of them.
It's not nobody. It's nobody. Like, what? Who are these people?
Oh, you're right. Nobori. Yeah,
Who are these people? Who are these people?
Wait, this guy. I have 2 college degrees. Thank you very much. And the NFL is pure communism. What the hell is that? That's great.
So some of these aren't fair because I'm sure that was
but they're
reply
so
to a
good.
reply.
They're so good.
Yeah, that is sweet. That might be my favorite of all time right there. I have 2 college degrees.
Look at this one. This one's great. If I was Rodgers, I'd call up Favre and say, I get it now, Brett, and then find a new place to sling the rock. This was the best one. I shared this on the page today. I literally laughed out loud at work. if Packers ever signed Kaepernick, I would burn all my Packers jerseys, hats, and coats. I would also burn my one share of Packers stock. My hats, jerseys, hats, and coats. Very specific elements.
I know. These are good. I think they're only going to get better.
They're really going now.
So, we're past our half hour, so we can be done. We'll check back in after
we'll have to have the funeral dirge lead us out or something.
You know what? It pains me, but I can see us losing by 6 points this week.
Yes, I could see us losing by more. But I mean, hey, stranger things have happened. Maybe they really do galvanize, and maybe Hundley, I'll leave it at this. Hundley, with a week of practice with the starters, could mean, that he'll be that much better, because he's never done that. He's never had the chance to.
Right. And I don't know. We have kick-ass receivers, man. I just feel like
we also have Bennett, cement shoes and cement hands. Bennett. Did you see on the play that Rodgers got hurt? He hit him wide open and it bounced off his hands. God.
That guy. I am so disappointed in him.
He's the biggest zero on this. It's so sad.
I want him to be good though.
He is. I hate to say he's worthless, but he's damn near worthless.
Yeah,
that was a microcosm of the season. Rodgers, it was going to be a first down. He was wide open, bounced off his hands, and then Rodgers was out for the year.
Yeah, that was the season right there.
Oh God, I need to find a GIF of that and then just loop it and be like the Packers season.
Oh my God!
Actually, if you want to hear something really funny, then we'll let you go. I know we're kind of rambling on, but this is funny. So I love GIFs. I put a lot of GIFs out there.
Who doesn't?
I know who doesn't. Exactly. Who doesn't? They're according to JS Online or JS Comments, they're communists. But anyway, so in honor of Blade Runner, you remember the original Blade Runner when is Rutger Hauer, Roy Batty at the end when he's talking to Harrison Ford, and he's talking to him in the rain, and all of a sudden he goes, "Time to die." And he just puts his head down and he goes down. I got that GIF and I was gonna put "Time to Die" and then I was gonna put "Current state of Packers fans," but I didn't. I held back. I was like, that's a little morbid, but I thought it was really clever.
Honestly, I just feel like we're all in disbelief.
Yeah, we're still kind of in shock,
which is ridiculous. Like I feel like I should have been able to process this, but I just feel like I honestly felt like I would wake up this morning and it would have been a dream.
You know what? It is funny you say that, because I woke up and then I was like, do, and then I literally, probably 2 minutes after I woke up, I went, oh shit, that's right, Rodgers broke his collarbone. I literally said that, and I was like, oh yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I hope we have something interesting happen this week.
There will always be topics. That's
I hope we don't have a 6-point loss.
No, I agree. Hey.
I'm not setting my sights real high this week.
All right.
All right. Go Pack.
See ya.
Podcast.
Chair.
I know, right?